Hello, everyone. I'm redoing this intro because James is making me because apparently my last one was so bad because I forgot to say my name, his name, Haley's name, the name of the show, or what the show is. So
details.
Sorry,
details.
perfectionist.
Welcome to the Joe Rogan Experience.
Sorry. You are listening to Just the Gist. The episodes that probably aren't long enough to fill a whole episode, so we do little mini ones, except I think this has turned into a medium, this one that we're doing today. I better say my name quickly because that's what I didn't do before. I'm Rosie Waterland. With me today just singing a Hayley Stavely and my favourite person right now, James Joseph. Welcome.
Oh, welcome.
Hi, Rose. Hi.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi, guys. Yeah, it's
Hi,
hard,
James.
isn't it? I just let you guys talk. I let you talk then, James, and you didn't know what to do.
Nope.
I said welcome.
I
and you
said
said
right ahead.
I went welcome, and you went welcome.
Welcome.
Yeah, all right.
I'm so happy to be here.
Hi, guys. So,
Like when someone says happy birthday and you say you
You
too.
too,
you
yeah.
too,
Like,
yeah.
Oh no.
So I was going to put this as just a segment in Breaking News, but then I realized it would have been the whole of Breaking News. It was too much. So I was like, I'll make it a mini, and then it might even be a medium. I don't know. It might go so long it's a whole episode.
Yeah, maybe it's a 5-part miniseries.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, okay. So basically, I just read this article in the New York Times. It's this story that has kind of gone viral. That's why I heard about it. It came out last week. And just to sort of give you an idea, here's the headline of the story. It is, she was ready to have her 15th child. Then came the felony charges. MaryBeth Lewis's desire to be a new mum again at 65 years old led to a custody battle like no other. Now, this story is nuts. This woman, MaryBeth Lewis, essentially has, they say she has so many kids. She's almost 65. And over the last few years, she wanted more kids. Her husband didn't. So she defrauded the court, forged his signature or whatever, and then had an embryo implanted in a surrogate without telling him or anybody, and to have her 15th child when she was 65 years old.
Wow.
She's a nutter. And so all of this stuff is now breaking in the news because of this New York Times magazine story. And I sort of was like, I just want to give you just the gist mini of this story from this New York Times article, basically.
Please do.
Yeah,
I am
because
dying for details.
It's great. So please go and read the story. We'll put the link in the show notes. But it is just so freaking fascinating, but also weirdly Brave New World-ish weird. I mean, she basically has her whole second group of children that she started having in her 50s have all been made through IVF.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to stop. She just wants to keep going and going
like an
and
addiction.
going. Kind of.
Yikes.
And I think it's really a story about this is I think a mental illness that we've not had to deal with before, women just wanting to continue having children, because this is something that it's gotten to a point where women have to stop having children. They can't have them anymore, physically, biologically. They can't have kids anymore. There are age limits on adoption or whatever. So there probably have been women throughout history who would have just kept having babies forever if they could, right? But this woman kind of is really pushing the limits of we're seeing now this is a mental health issue we've not had to issue before, deal with before, because there wasn't the medical means to allow 65-year-old women to keep having babies.
Crazy. It kind of reminds you of the
poor
women.
kids.
It kind of reminds you of the women who get chimpanzees because they want a baby that will be reliant on them forever.
Yes.
It kind of gives me vibes of that.
Yes. Okay.
Oh.
So here we go. I'm going to
You're
tell
supposed
you.
to have grandchildren and dogs when you're 65.
Right? Okay, so this story was the journalist who interviewed her and reported this story is David Gauvey? Gauvey. Wait, that sounds like
That sounds like
gravy.
you're
Have a
saying
list.
gravy with a speech impediment.
But with a
David
list.
Gauvey.
It's spelled Gauvey. What would that be? Gauvey. David Gauvey Herbert.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's an incredible story. He has knocked it out of the park. He interviews her. It's so fascinating. So I'm just going to tell you this. I'm going to give you just the gist mini of this woman and this whole deal. It's nuts.
Excellent.
So MaryBeth Lewis meets her husband Bob in 1982. He's an Air Force pilot and she's an Air Force nurse. And she joked, they always wanted a lot of babies. They talked about having 10 kids together. She'd wanted a lot of kids since she was young. She used to like tuck all her dolls into bed every night. She was very much the little kid who like did the mum playing stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So she and Bob have like a pretty happy marriage, she says. They end up having 5 daughters. He, when he leaves the Air Force, gets a pilot job with FedEx, which is like what Tom Hanks does in Castaway. Like he's not the pilot, but like this guy Bob flies the FedEx planes all around the world delivering stuff. Yeah. So the girls grow up like mostly and are busy with school and stuff. And MaryBeth starts to feel like, I would say, lonely. But in this interview with the New York Times, she says it's like she more just felt off. So there's a quote here. She says, "Something felt off. Bob was traveling half the month and the girls were at school or busy with homework and friends. MaryBeth was often all alone in a quiet house. This is empty," she thought. "I don't like this at all." Now in her mid-40s, MaryBeth decided she wanted another baby. So to me, that's like, I don't know, your kids have gotten older, don't need you as much. It's like loneliness, I guess, or like purposelessness, or, you know?
Yeah, go volunteer or something.
So they start trying for a baby when she's in her mid-40s, and she thinks it'll take months. Like, she'd never had problems getting pregnant before, but she obviously hasn't had a baby for a long time. Doesn't happen. Then a couple of years pass, so they start doing IVF. So they make a bunch of embryos using his sperm and her eggs. Like, she still had pretty good eggs. There was no problem with his sperm. And at that point, most people understand this process. Like, you can either have your embryos implanted into you or implanted into a surrogate, because, there are lots of issues with women. Sometimes their eggs are good, but they can't carry a pregnancy, or sometimes they can carry a pregnancy, but their eggs aren't good, so they have someone else's eggs. There's all these different ways you can do it. But basically, MaryBeth wants it to be her and Bob's like sperm and egg. Like, she wants it to be their biological children. She also would like to carry the pregnancy herself, which might have been should have been difficult, because most IVF clinics in the US won't implant an embryo into a woman over 45. It's just like, they also often don't really like to take eggs from women over 45, just because the health of eggs starts declining pretty much from when you're born. They tell you the health of your eggs is declining. Like, you're
impressive she even had enough eggs to bother harvesting at 45.
Women are told pretty much like, we are just like declining in quality from the moment we enter this world. But particularly from 35, your eggs start to really decline in health. But they got some good embryos, and she finds a clinic that is willing to implant the embryos into her. It's 2007. She's about to turn 50.
Gosh.
And she carries the pregnancy successfully. She gives birth to twin girls. And this is why they often don't like women over 45 carrying pregnancies, because like there can be a lot of health complications in terms of your body being able to handle like a pregnancy and a birth. She nearly dies during the birth. There's a lot of blood clotting. Like, she wakes up on a ventilator. It's an intense birth, but she gives birth to 2 twin girls. And at that stage, their other 5 daughters were between 13 and 23. And so the twins brought their total children to 7. So they have 7 girls now, and she's 50.
How did she think she was going to have the energy for twins at 50?
Well, I mean, so not only does she think she has the energy for twins, but 3 years later, in 2010, at the age of 53, she decides she wants another. So they go through the process again, and it is successful again, which is crazy to me, because I know so many people who can't even successfully do this process at like 35. So it's nuts. So she has another baby in 2010, just the one, a baby girl. So they now have 8 children. They have 8 girls. And it's interesting that you say, Hayley, like, how does she have the energy? Because apparently, like, she really has the energy. Like, apparently she's, like, into it all. Like, she, is doing the Girl Scouts, and she's doing all the after school stuff, and she's the one doing all, like, doing the costumes for Halloween and all. Like she's like
This is her
mom
thing. Yeah.
I mean,
duty, you know?
That's great. I thought you were going to say she like Michelle Duggars them and just makes her other daughters raise the younger children.
Well,
So props to
a
her.
little.
She's an involved mum.
No, but yeah,
Okay,
we'll
all right.
see.
I'll keep listening.
There is some Duggar-esque like that in here. So her older daughters are also like they raise good kids. Like they're really smart, they're hardworking. They've all done like, mostly graduate degrees and stuff. They call themselves, and this is a bit weird, the original 5 girls call themselves the originals. Because it's like, because I think the youngest was 13 when she started on this new batch.
Yeah.
So there's like quite a gap there. Okay, so it's 2010 and MaryBeth has the 5 older daughters, the originals. She has a 3-year-old twin daughters and the new baby daughter. And her hands are also super full because she's a full-time carer for her elderly mother who they've moved into the house.
Gosh.
And Bob, as usual, because of his job, is away like at least 2 to 3 weeks of every month.
Wow.
So
Is she just doing a lot of coke? Like, how is she doing this?
Like, apparently she thrives on the caregiver role, although it does come out later in the article that even though she says she thrives on the caregiver role and to friends it appeared that she did, her older daughters were like, she was relying on us so much.
Yeah,
Like
we're the engine room.
We were helping so much. Then, and even during this time, this is crazy. So she's doing all this stuff. The mum's in the house, whatever. She goes and gets her doctorate in nursing. So she also adds study to it. It's crazy.
She's like a time traveler or something. She's got access to something we do not have access to.
But then MaryBeth's mother dies, and apparently she struggles a lot with the grief of that because they were very close. And a few years after that, in 2013, like the younger kids aren't babies anymore. So the twin girls are now 6 and the youngest daughter is like 2 going on 3. And MaryBeth had insisted to everyone they were done, but then all of a sudden, and I think reading the article, there is a pattern of as soon as like her youngest kid becomes a toddler, she wants to go again.
Yeah.
So she decides that she wants to try and implant some more of their embryos that they still have on ice. So in 2012, she's 55. MaryBeth gives birth to twin boys. These are her
finally some boys.
Yeah, these are her 9th and 10th children, and the originals did assume, well, they're boys, so she'll stop now. Like, she'll stop now. And I know you're probably having questions about Bob and what he thinks about all this. I will tell you, it's crazy.
I'm also wondering, like, is there a rule in terms of like how old someone needs to be to implant an embryo into them?
It's crazy because in this article they kind of mention, like I said before, that most IVF clinics don't want to implant in someone over 45, but then they just kind of are like, but she found somewhere that would, and it seems like they just kept doing it.
Yeah, so it's
like
not necessarily a rule.
There is a serious lack of regulation in this field. I'm not sure how different it is in Australia versus the US, but in the US, like I've listened to a few podcasts about this article and I've read a bunch of stuff. There is like a serious lack of regulation, and it's very much an industry where if you have the money to pay, you can kind of have children in whatever weird sciencey way you want if you can afford it. And they have very good money.
So the originals, they weren't IVF, were they? They were just
they were just like regulars.
And there were no twins in the originals.
No. The reason she's having twins is because when you're doing IVF and you're older, they usually implant a few embryos at once because it's unlikely any of them will work. Usually only one will work. So they put in a few, but she just kept getting 2.
Yeah. My twins are my cousins are twins, and they're IVF put 2 in over and over. None of them took, and then both.
Yeah. So the originals assume that because they're boys, they're like, well, maybe she'll stop now. Like she just wanted boys. She's got 2 now. And, they'd always joke that they wanted 10 kids and this is 10. So they're like, okay, please let her be done. One of them says in the article, though, you could never really know if it was the last baby because she'd say it was and then she'd be like, surprise. Like she just kept wanting to have babies. The originals were desperately hoping it was the last because things had turned by this point into a bit of a reverse grandma situation, like a time when they were starting having their own young families and like assumed a grandma would, sort of be there to help and step in or whatever. And she had promised, like I got like one of them was single and wasn't sure if she should have a kid, and MaryBeth was like, no, I'm going to help you. Like, we'll do it. Like, but then they end up sort of being the grandmas to her kids, like playing that role. It's a very weird flipped dynamic. So the second oldest of the originals, Christina, she struggled with bipolar disorder and addiction, and around this time she got clean and sober. And MaryBeth, after her mother had died, really started focusing on Christina and like taking care of Christina in her like recovery and needing a lot of help. And she, you know, they had her in a little apartment near where they lived, and she'd home cook all her meals and take them over, like just really sort of shifted her caregiving need to her daughter Christina. And Christina apparently was very dependent on her. So it was like a codependent kind of dynamic between them. And then really awfully, age 26, Christina has a heart attack and is declared brain dead.
Wow.
And it was the kind of death, well, I don't want to say death yet. It was the kind of heart attack and brain sort of incident where you would let that person, like their body is alive, but the doctors say they are in all senses gone. But MaryBeth refuses to allow that to be true, and they have a lot of money. So they essentially keep Christina alive by like whatever means possible. Like from what I read in the article, it sounds like she was kind of a vegetable. Like she had a feeding tube and a ventilator and all that stuff. MaryBeth visits her like every couple of days, paints her nails, sits by her bed, all that kind of thing. The New York Times, I'll read you this like sort of quote, longer quote from the article. It says, Christina's incapacitation kind of broke her, Liz says. That's one of her daughters. And she just needed to share her mother's love with as many children as possible. A newborn was the promise, says her seventh daughter, Isabel, of someone who wouldn't leave her. Isabel, Liz, and Marissa requested to use their middle names to protect their privacy. Yeah, you'd want that. There were yet more theories conjured by friends and family to explain why MaryBeth kept wanting more kids. Bob was sure the children made her feel young. Her friends saw a fear of loneliness, which she kept at bay with the intoxication of new motherhood. Nothing's better than cuddling a baby in bed, a friend of hers says. So MaryBeth actually says it's simpler than all of that when the journalist puts all those explanations to her. She says like her childhood ritual with the dolls like had now just grown into what she wanted her purpose in life to be. And she says, I think that's because it's where I got my love. My children were my love, my blessings. And I read that and I'm like, well, that's about you. Like that's so selfish. That's so selfish.
Get some therapy.
Yeah. So we are now, it's 2016. MaryBeth is 59. She has 10 children. The youngest of them are 9 and 6, and she wants to go again.
No,
but
MaryBeth.
She and Bob have no embryos left, which was like, you know, her egg and his sperm. So they decide to buy donor egg and sperm and have those turned into embryos. And they say in this article, they say buy, which I'm pretty sure in Australia you're not allowed. Money can't exchange hands. So I guess in the US it's different because he makes a point of saying they bought these embryos.
Because here
and you can pay surrogates and stuff in the States as well. You can't here.
Oh, the amount, I'll go into the dollar stuff. It's crazy. But
how do they have so much money? Or are you going to get there?
He makes a lot of money, and so does she, because she works, you know, as a very important level nurse. So she makes pretty good money, and he makes a pilot of that caliber and age. He's bringing home like, I think it's a few $100,000 a year, and like they both make very good money. They have no embryos left, so they buy these donor embryos, and they get a few embryos out of the sperm and the eggs that they buy. She again wants them. She wants to carry the pregnancy. She finds a clinic that will do that. It says here that at this point she's working in an IVF clinic because she's a nurse. They don't specify though whether it's that clinic that's doing it, but they do say like, you know, she has this implanted into her. She's 59. She works at this clinic. She's pregnant with twins again.
Gosh.
And apparently women like 20 years younger than her in the clinic are like shocked when they see her. And I'm like, well, that's pretty good freaking advertising, isn't it? To have like a grandma walk out with a pregnant belly.
That's
so maybe
so
it
true.
is them. Like maybe
we can impregnate anybody.
Yeah, like they don't specify.
No matter
this
how
article,
decrepit your uterus.
They don't specify, but I feel like probably because if she worked at an IVF clinic and came in like that, they were like, what other clinic did this? Like they would have questions. Anyway. So,
who did this to you?
But they don't really give the details of that. So she then at 59 gives birth to her third set of twins. It's her and Bob's 11th and 12th children, but their first, like technically non-biologically theirs, but she did carry the pregnancy. The New York Times article then puts this interesting number in. It says that only 1,200 women over 50 gave birth in the US in 2023, but that's only between 50 and 54 because the numbers aren't even collected over the 50 to 54 age bracket. So
I'm surprised there are even 1,200. I mean, I know as a percentage of their population, that's not a lot, but still, that's still 1,200 50-plus-year-olds who had babies.
I guess maybe it is because their system is so unregulated. There are very wealthy women, and women who are that wealthy, I hate to say it, are usually a lot healthier because they've had the means to stay a lot healthier. And it would have to be an IVF situation, right?
Sure,
yeah.
But I mean, they stop even bothering to count when people are over 54. So she might be the only person. What is she? 59 at the tail end of the 50s doing it.
Yikes.
So she's 59 and they've had their 11th and 12th children.
Nice.
You think she's done? You think she's done, you guys?
I hope she's done. I really hope she's done.
On Easter Sunday in 2019, the youngest twins are almost 3. Not babies anymore, have become toddlers.
That means
the second batch of kids, so not the original daughters, the original 5, the second batch of kids who are still living at home are 12, 9, 7. And like I said, the twins are almost 3. The whole family is over to celebrate Easter. So that's 12 kids all together because a bunch of them are twins. And all the kids now, all 12 kids now, including the originals, range in age from 2 to 35.
Wow.
So they're all at the house for Easter, and MaryBeth and Bob hand each of them a plastic Easter egg, and inside each of the eggs was a note saying, "We're egg-specting." We're egg-specting.
Oh, no.
They are expecting one baby, not twins, and this baby will be their 13th baby. One of the daughters in the piece says she was confused for a second and thought it was a surprise, like the dog was pregnant, because it didn't even occur to her. There's a quote from Isabel, who was 12 at the time. She says, "All of us were shocked. The younger ones were excited. Us older ones were like, this is not going to end well." I'm like, you are one of the younger ones. You're 12. You're 12.
Yeah.
Come on.
Sweetheart.
And then also this quote, this longer quote from the piece is talking about how Liz, one of the original daughters who's 31, feels. It says, "Liz, then 31, was furious. For the originals, the arrival of more siblings had gone from a joy to a stretch and finally to the breaking point. She felt increasingly pushed aside. Her sister Marissa had it worse. She lived at home during college to help with daycare pickups, bath time and nighttime tears, and promptly failed her classes. A few of the older sisters even delayed having their own children in part to help MaryBeth, and now she had gone and unilaterally signed them all up for another tour of diaper duty. What if you pass away before you think you will?" Liz asked MaryBeth, probing her mother's awareness of her own mortality. "Well," MaryBeth shot back, "what if you pass away?" What?
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. So my question at this point in the article is, like, what is Bob? Does Bob want this? What's going on? And so this is where they start going into like Bob's deal here, because come on.
Is he still working at this point?
Okay, so
He's away so often that
that's what we're about.
He wouldn't be so impacted by it, really.
Yeah, well, that's a big part of it. That's a big part of where this all starts to go pear-shaped. So after that Easter announcement, some of the kids said they looked to Bob for guidance, and he kind of shrugged, kind of like, well, she's just doing it. Like, I don't know. Like, he just didn't seem to take any kind of responsibility or care factor in it at all. The other times though, like when they had the first few of the second batch of kids, he agreed, he'd been on board. He was like, yeah, let's go. This time though, she had done it in secret. So he didn't tell them that she had actually forged his signature, got another embryo implanted, and she didn't tell him until after she was through her first trimester.
And this is the 13th kid.
Yeah, the one they just announced at Easter. Wow. She didn't tell him.
So
bad. He didn't know, and it was a surprise to him too. They told everyone together, but she had done it on her own. Gosh. So at this point, I'm like, what is the deal with him? Like, what's going on? And it turns out their marriage was kind of this weird arrangement that worked well for them, and his job did have a lot to do with it. He really liked his own life and his own time, and so not many wives also would be okay with their husbands being away like 2 or 3 weeks out of every month. Like that's how much he was away most of the time.
He had other families or girlfriends or
maybe, I don't know, but I mean, not many husbands would be okay with 13 children, but he was away so much that like it worked for them. Yeah. So this is a great quote from the article. It says, over time, even the occasional intersection of their parallel lives was too much to bear. Their house overflowed with kids' toys, 2 refrigerators, freezers, sneakers tumbling off shoe racks. When Bob came home, he would shout and belittle MaryBeth about the mess. My friends, years ago told me, you need to get rid of him, MaryBeth says. She even consulted a divorce attorney. But then he would leave on a trip and everything was perfect without him. It's like, well, yeah. So I guess they had this arrangement where like he got to go off. He's traveling the world. He's a worldwide international FedEx pilot. And so he's off traveling, doing cool stuff. Like apparently there's lots of photos of him throughout the house by himself in front of like the Harbour Bridge and the pyramids. Yeah. And so he's living this cool life. She's having all these kids. He doesn't really have to deal with that. So he's like, well, go for it, whatever. And she's like, most wives wouldn't be okay with you being off doing all of that. So they've kind of like got this weird understanding with each other. But what in 2020, just after the birth of a new baby, was going to ruin this arrangement? COVID.
Now he's got to stay home.
Not just that, but he was planning to stay home. Well, not to stay home. He was planning to retire. At 65, you're not allowed to be a pilot anymore. So he was about to hit retirement.
You can't be a pilot anymore, but you can still have babies implanted in you. Mate, like, what is this world coming to?
I know. So he had like a huge retirement, like, windfall coming his way, plus he had like a huge pension from his time in the Air Force. Like he was about to not be working and be incredibly financially comfortable. He was apparently really looking forward to finally traveling with MaryBeth to all the places he'd gone on his own. And so he retires.
Did you think they were going to be doing that?
He retires and he's really looking forward to that. And all of his friends are like traveling. They're, you know, grey nomads, whatever. And then he retires at the same time that COVID happens. So all the schools are closed. There's lockdown. So not only does he, for the first time in like his entire marriage, have to be home full time with the kids, they're in lockdown. So he is suddenly home with 8 kids at home and they go from a newborn to a 13-year-old and he's like stuck there. So this is when
straight into expert mode.
Basically, yeah.
He's like, I made a huge mistake.
Yeah, like he was okay with it when he wasn't there most of the time. So Bob is unhappy, but he's just kind of like, well, this is what, you know, COVID won't last forever. I guess this is it. We're done anyway. That's all the kids. So whatever. So then we get to 2022. MaryBeth is now 65, Bob 66. And once again, the youngest kid has aged out of being a baby, is almost 3.
Oh, no.
I know. This story is crazy. You guys all, I can't wait for you all to read this article. It's like I'm giving you just the gist. It's crazy. So MaryBeth wants to go again. And they still have the embryos that they had made from the donor sperm and eggs that they'd bought. They're on ice. And she says that because she's like staunchly Catholic, she doesn't want to destroy them because she thinks that's like destroying a life. But like, interestingly, the Catholic Church is against IVF altogether. So it's like, you're kind of
picking and choosing.
You're picking and choosing.
That's not the only option. You can donate them.
Well, she also says that because all of the embryos are from the same sperm and egg donor, so the last few kids, I've lost track of the amount, but the last few kids they have all technically come from the same mother and father.
Yeah.
They don't want to donate the remaining embryos because that's like giving their siblings away to someone else. Like, and so she doesn't want to destroy them, but she doesn't want to give them away. So it's kind of like, well, she's got it. She says, I would be Catholic. I had to. But this is what she says now. But I think it was more that she just, her youngest kid was about to turn 3 and she wanted to go again. So she's essentially told, your body is effed. You cannot carry the pregnancy this time. Like, apparently she's had a couple of C-sections and that scar is so fragile. Like, it'll pop open if she sneezes, let alone if she tries to get pregnant again. Ugh. So they're like, this time you need to have a surrogate. Like, not only are these donated embryos, but you need someone else to carry the pregnancy. She brings it up with Bob, who freaking loses it. Yeah. He is just like, no. The New York Times says, in their kitchen one evening, MaryBeth again brought up the embryos. Bob lost it. He screamed at MaryBeth just inches from her face. Destroy them, he cried. I don't want anything to do with them. And then he stormed off. And that's, MaryBeth says, when I got a little bonko.
That's
no, girl. You've been bonko for a long time.
You've been bonko for a while, MaryBeth. You've been bonko for a while,
You're
my
only
friend.
now just realizing it.
So MaryBeth decides, I'm going to do it anyway. And she then moves forward secretly. She gets a surrogacy lawyer. She finds a surrogate through some surrogacy service. She forges Bob's signature in all of this, which she said she's like done for years. She's like, because he's a pilot, he's away all the time. Like, he knew forms would come, I'd sign for it. She's like, I was really good at forging his signature.
Fraud, whatever. Like, yeah.
So the embryos are implanted in the surrogate. And I also just put down the cost here. This is crazy to me how the US works. So it says here, if implantation was successful, the costs would be staggering. MaryBeth and Bob would pay $49,000 to the surrogate. So surrogates get paid. I know in Australia you're not allowed to do that. Like you pay the medical expenses and that's it. So they would pay $49,000 to the surrogate plus, this is so icky, a $7,000 bonus if 2 heartbeats were detected. They cover all the surrogates' health and life insurance and attorney fees. They pay a $3,500 bonus if she has to get a C-section. They pay $200 a week for her breast milk once the babies are born. Wow. So all in, it's going to cost like $160,000 to do this. It's like, if you have money, you can just do whatever weird science birth you want over there, even if you're 65 freaking years old.
So do the surrogates know whose child they're carrying?
Yes.
Like, is that surrogate gone, oh, this is like some baby for an old lady?
Yes.
Yes, that's fine with me.
The surrogate knows, and as far as the surrogate knows and the lawyer knows, they think Bob's in on it. He's just away all the time, so they're like, yep, cool.
Gosh.
So MaryBeth says she doesn't know how to tell Bob. She's scared. She's like, he gets cranky. She knows he didn't want this. So she keeps putting it off. And then she says, like, at first I thought, well, maybe the embryos won't take. So there's no reason to tell him until we know it's worked. Then she finds out it does work. And by the way, to work, it's twins. So she's like, okay, it's twins. And then she gets really excited and she starts like buying baby stuff and it's getting delivered. And when it does, Bob's like, what's this? And she's like, oh, it's for Liz, because by now Liz is pregnant. So she keeps pretending that she's getting all this stuff for Liz's baby. She has not told Bob, like I think she was just scared to tell him. It's 8 weeks before the surrogate is due to give birth to their twins.
Oh, no.
She's still told nobody. Nobody knows. But here's where things get tricky, like than it had been in the past, because this is the first time they've used a surrogate. And the laws for surrogates in the state that they live in the US are like, it doesn't matter the biology of the parents, like if it's your egg or sperm or whatever. The laws over there are if you carry that child and give birth to it, like in a pregnancy, that child is considered yours, and you have to go to a court hearing to get the parental rights transferred over from the surrogate to the parents, right?
God.
So both parents and the surrogate need to be at that court hearing. It's on Zoom because a lot of this stuff was done on Zoom now because COVID had made us realize we can do this kind of thing on Zoom. So Mary says Bob is logging in from Japan and then he logs in but the screen doesn't work and he's sort of typing, oh, I can't get a picture. Is it all right to just do audio? And then the judge like goes to talk to him and it's like she says she just kind of grunted for him. So she kind of is just on Zoom acting like he's there but he's in Japan. Now, the judge does notice this is weird. The judge is like, what is this? He also notices Bob is 67 and you are 66. Like the judge has some questions.
Yeah.
But her lawyer is also there and this is a specialist surrogacy lawyer who I assume does this for just rich people all the time who just want a baby no matter what. And everything is in order. So even though the judge feels like, I don't know about this, he has no choice but to just put the parental rights through because it's all in order. She has a lawyer, it's fine. So he signs the parental rights, like court order saying like the surrogate agrees once the twins are born, Bob and MaryBeth become the parents. But then, and I think maybe the judge did this on purpose, Mary had been having all of the legal correspondence about this sent to a secret PO box. The judge has the parental rights court order sent to the house.
Good.
Bob gets home, opens it, sees everything, calls MaryBeth, furious, says, I'm calling the police, I'm reporting you, you're going to get arrested. He calls all his older daughters, the originals, tells the kids at home. And then this is a quote from the article. While the Lewis children raged at MaryBeth, nearly 100 miles away in Steuben County, the court rescinded MaryBeth and Bob's parentage order, so because he reported her. The Department of Social Services soon argued that the twins should be considered wards of the state. And this is where it gets so sad to me. So essentially, he reports her. He's like, I don't want these kids, right? Social Services lays out its case. They say the sperm and egg donors had waived their rights to any offspring. So the sperm and egg donors, they're not in this. They don't want them. The surrogate, a few weeks away from giving birth, she doesn't want the twins either. She's just in this to be a surrogate. And without a parental order handing over the parental rights to MaryBeth and Bob, they're technically not the parents either. So now these two little kids who aren't even born yet are considered parentless. It's then decided that basically these kids are just going to be called baby A and baby B. And when they are born, they will have no parents under New York state law because she has defrauded everything. Bob said he doesn't want them. The others don't want them. So they are now just like kids with nobody. Social Services has to go around and interview Bob and MaryBeth and like he's raging. He's saying the marriage is over. I didn't want these kids. Like I don't even think she's capable of looking after them. She's 66 years old. And then apparently in front of the social worker, she says, if our marriage is over, then I get half of everything. And then a few days later, Bob and MaryBeth are suddenly united and he's had a change of heart. And they decide that they're going to stay together. And I think it's because he's like, this will be not only an expensive court battle, but she will get hurt. Like it's just cheaper and easier for him to just stay with her. So they go to the surrogate and say, yep, we had a fight, but we've sorted it. We want the kids now. She hasn't given birth yet, but they sign a new contract with her saying, yes, we both agree to be the parents. But the court has to agree to that because Bob reported her and they were like, you guys are crazy, rescinded the parental right. They can't just go, but we're doing it now. So the court is like, hold on, you can't just sign your own thing with the surrogate. Like we need to decide whether or not you can have them. By the way, at this point, this surrogate who's a couple of weeks away from giving birth, which MaryBeth knows, MaryBeth for the last month has been taking special drugs that make her lactate because she wants to breastfeed the children.
Oh my God.
When they come.
No.
Like
This is
woman's
someone with some
diabolical.
serious mental health issues.
I know.
Yeah.
This is
Like,
why I was saying at the start, like this is not a mental health issue we've ever really had to deal with because women just cannot keep having babies. And so this is like so like this is a new frontier of mental health issue. Imagine how many women would have gone down this road had they had unlimited means and the scientific ability to continue having babies for as long as they wanted.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Those poor kids.
So the surrogate gives birth a few weeks later, and there's an emergency hearing because Bob and MaryBeth, they're like, we want the babies, but they're refused custody. Like the judge, the court is just like, there is something weird going on here. No, not yet. So these two little newborn twins, a boy and a girl, they get put with foster parents. And then the like New York State's attorney or like the district attorney or whatever is like, this is so effed up. Like you can't just do what you did. I don't care if you and Bob have made up and have decided, oh, never mind. Like we want that. Like you broke several laws here. Like essentially like they're kind of saying you almost trafficked children. If you're considering, if you say that like anything above an embryo from an embryo is a life, you've dealt in trafficking here. Like the district attorney is like, you have to get in trouble. Rich people can't just do whatever they want with science and babies and stuff. And so the district attorney brings charges against her. I think there's like 30 felony charges brought against her. But she refused. They try to make plea deals with her, like, accept this charge and you'll get 6 months or this. But any plea deal that she makes means they probably won't get custody of the kids. And she still is fighting for custody of what she says they say are their kids. So she won't take any plea deal or anything.
They should be losing custody of the other kids as well.
It's crazy. So this is an interesting point from the article. It says, there is genetic motherhood, the woman who provides the egg from which an embryo is created. There is gestational motherhood. New research shows that the woman who carries the fetus, even if not genetically related, can influence eventual gene expression. And then there is social motherhood, the woman who raises the child. Most mothers are all three. In cases of adoption or surrogacy, those roles can be divided between, however many people. MaryBeth was none of those. She shared neither DNA nor her womb nor her home with baby A and baby B because they're in foster care from the day they're born. To the local attorneys arrayed against her, MaryBeth wasn't their mother. They considered her closer to a human trafficker.
Yeah.
So a few years pass. We get to this year. She's still fighting because she actually might have a chance. Because they indicate like laws, like they sort of go into the laws in the article about how it all works. But essentially in a surrogate case, like back in the 90s, a court issued this ruling. It was like a landmark ruling in favor of a child's genetic parents saying that but for their acted on intention, the child would not exist. So ever since courts have recognized the concept of like intent as a tiebreaker when complicated stuff like this happens. Like, well, whoever were the ones who intended for these children to be born, they're the reason those kids are alive. So custody will go to them. And in this case, that's, MaryBeth, she's not their genetic mother, but she was the one who initiated all of this. So intent is like this legal precedent that she could win on. Also, there's something in the Family Court Act that says that often in these cases, courts will decide to place children with any other genetic siblings they have. And MaryBeth and Bob have their older genetic siblings. So there's like a bunch, it's not like a total lost cause for her. And her and Bob do have the money to continue fighting for the twins. So the twins are almost 2. The foster parents love them, want to adopt them. They filed to adopt them. MaryBeth and Bob have a, fancy lawyer, and they try to stop the adoption, and they win in front of a judge, some random judge in New York State. They win their case and they get made the legal parents of the twins when they're like about 2 years old. And this was like recently. And so parental rights are like handed over to them. And then the next day they go into the court and they're expecting like, we're going to pick up our 2-year-olds. And this to me is like, this is about you. Because those little kids have been there since they were newborn babies.
They don't even know
that's
you.
their mum and dad. They don't know you. You're not genetically related to them in any way. That's their mum and dad. They're loving parents who want to adopt them, and you're saying, no, they're mine. That's messed up. That's about you.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That's about you. That's not about them. If you actually, it's that whole thing of like cutting the thing in half. You know, the person who says, no, don't cut it in half because I love it so much. Keep it whole. Whatever that story is from, I don't know.
The Bible.
The Bible.
The Bible. It's from the Bible. Yeah. I'm getting like the butt kisses from It Takes Two. Those people collect kids.
Yes. So they win some court order saying we'll make you the parental legal parental rights go to you. They go expecting to pick up these two twins, but the foster parents lodge like this last minute appeal, and so they stop it, and a hearing for that appeal is set for late November, like this month.
Wow.
So those two little kids are currently with their foster parents, but parental rights have been given to Bob and MaryBeth, and an appeal hearing is happening soon.
Is there like a different legal thing going on in terms of her forging the documents? And
yes,
so that's separate though, isn't it?
This is separate though. So also criminal proceedings were set in this article. It said she was set to go before court on November 7th. So that was a few days ago. I couldn't find anything about how that went or where it's at. But she's also, like being criminally charged
and
separately.
How you would not look at that and be like, well, we're not going to award it to you because you're under criminal
the criminal grandma who traffics embryos.
God.
I mean, the lawyers that they got to somehow get this new judge to hand the rights over to them, it's like in the article, the lawyers were kind of saying like, this is a pretty amazing case just in terms of the law. Like we were excited to get this case because this is really interesting, and like they kind of are nerding out about the legalities of it and were very excited to have won just because I don't know, they argue like these tiny weird little points of the law. They find things buried in other like statutes, and they like for whatever reason, this new judge, they convinced him MaryBeth and Bob should be the parents. And hearing set for November, late November. And so this article is crazy. You can see why it's gone viral.
Yeah. Well, like, hopefully that influences the case, you know?
Like this is Brave New World nonsense.
Yeah. And you think that the older children would be coming out saying, no, do not award these children to these
They kind of
parents.
have, the older originals have kind of just, like apparently it's very contentious.
Yeah.
The kids still living in the house they're like, please, no. But like she is like so like in this article, she is just very steadfastly like, no, those are my children. I have a right to them because I'm the reason they exist. She kind of says, I think she's getting that language from her lawyers.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll just read you the final like quote from her in this article. It says, MaryBeth still has pending criminal charges, which she did at the time this article was published over a week ago. But her lawyers were confident they would strike a deal that avoided jail time. In quiet moments, she entertains the possibility that she made some mistakes. Oh, how big of you.
Oh, yeah.
But a crystal clarity always returns. She plucked the twins from a frozen celestial limbo and put them on this earth. She gave them life. How could she ever regret this? I saved these embryos from being destroyed. She says, I saved my children.
Ugh.
Ew.
Also, they're two. She's about to get bored of them and want fresh ones anyway. I know. Let those ones go.
They're already old enough that like this is when she, wants a new baby again. Like I can't, it's like just the questions of like science and ethics in all of this are
it's like it's
nuts.
Really complicated, but at the same time it's also not.
Yeah.
Like, they should just be with the foster parents. Those are their parents.
That's what I think too. I have listened to some other podcasts talking about this article who have said like, well, but I mean MaryBeth and Bob are, they're loving parents, so would it really be that bad if they went with them? I'm like, are they though?
Yes.
like it seems
and they're not going to be around for long.
Yeah, like they're old. So, they're not going to be around for long. And also just not to say whatever the official diagnosis is. I mean, we love speculating wildly about psychological pathology on this show, but like there is something wrong there,
Yeah.
Like I just, I get that their kids are all very well adjusted, well, mostly except for the one who had addiction issues, but like apparently their kids are all very well adjusted. It's like they can give them a good life, but there's no reason for them not to be considered like adequate parents. They're well off financially, all that stuff. But like there are 2 foster parents who've had those kids since the day they were born.
Yeah. If you look at what the best interest of the child, that's the foster parents. There is
I feel like to
nothing.
MaryBeth, this is what's in the best interest of MaryBeth.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Like, that's the vibe I get from this article. James,
it's
you
all
look
about
so...
her and the law. Like, it should be the best interest of the children.
Yeah, James looks so... he's just been looking at me like shell-shocked and like in dismay for like the last 5 minutes.
It's just, I don't know. I just think about how hard it is for people to have children, even the IVF process, even, you know, queer couples, single people. Like, there are so many barriers, but it just seems like in some areas of the world, if you have the money, you just do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
And it just seems so unfair.
And it's also like, this is the kind of thing that people who are against like medical interventions in terms of IVF, there are people all along that scale. Some people are against it fully, usually religious people. Some people are fine with IVF, but they're against surrogacy because they think there's just no way for there to ever not be some kind of like power imbalance there or whatever. But like no matter where you fall on that scale, it's people like this who do this kind of thing that makes everyone go, well, look what look what people do. Look what people do.
You're ruining it for everyone.
You're ruining it for everyone. Like, it's like.
But also this is a wealthy, well-to-do, presumably white older couple who just seem to be able to do what they want. Where like there are people who
I'll show you a picture of them. I'll share my screen
like,
here.
As you said, like, you know, there are people sitting on this kind of like spectrum in terms of like whether they agree with the IVF process or not. But it seems like the wealthier you are, the less rigorous kind of standards you need. Oh my God, they look like just like the oldest, widest.
They look like old grandparents. They look old.
They look way older than like
what you were thinking.
Would,
60.
Like the way the text describes her, you think, oh, she's like a vibrant 60. She does not look like one of the 6-year-olds on Golden Bachelor.
No.
Like she looks like a grandma.
No.
That's her there.
Oh my God.
She looks like a grandma.
Girl.
Like this is, wait, I'll show you.
Get her some reborn dolls.
Yeah, she needs reborn dolls. Like that's her with her 3 youngest kids at the moment. Like I just... It's weird. And this is the reason they put cutoffs on these things. Like there are people who would say, you know, it's harsh to say to like a 45-year-old, sorry, but that's the cutoff. But there has to be a definite cutoff in this kind of like that. This is why it's like there has to be. I feel like this kind of medical industry all around the IVF stuff has progressed so quickly, and particularly in the US where it would seem far less regulation than there is here. It's pay to play. If you can pay, you can play in whatever weird way you want, which is like...
But like, these are people's lives. Like these embryos are people. Like you can't just allow whoever has the most money to bring people into the world.
Yeah, it's like...
However, it's just gross.
It's so weird and gross. I don't know. How long have we been talking for? Did that turn into a medium?
Pretty much, yeah.
How long was that?
It's about an hour.
Oh, no. That's a whole episode. Maybe it needs to be the episode this week. I don't know.
It's so good.
It's so good, isn't it?
It's really good. I just want to...
It couldn't
go
be,
research.
It
more.
couldn't be a segment in Breakin Nooz.
No. There's no reason why we can't just
couldn't even
like,
be a mini.
No,
that went from a mini to a medium
again,
to a large.
We can give 2 regular size episodes this week.
We can. Guys, I had to tell you that article. Like, and please go and read I gave you just the gist of this article. It was in New York Times Magazine. It was published November 2nd, and it was David Gauvey Herbert. I'll put the link in. The article is insane. You have to go read it. Like, because even though I just like took you through that, you don't even. I gave you just the gist.
Yeah.
Like it's even crazier. You got to go read the article. It's like nuts. And also this is like a current news story. So it's all going to be breaking in the news over the next few weeks, I guess, like what's happening. But people like this article, also the comment section, there's like 1,000 comments. Like people, the comments are interesting. It's just raised a lot of really interesting like discussion and around ethics and medicine and all of this stuff. It's just fascinating.
What happened
I hyperfixated on this for like 3 days.
Was it Christina, the vegetable one?
Sorry, I should have said she eventually passed away in 2019.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which was also around the time that, you know, she was looking to have some more. It's like,
you suck,
you know,
MaryBeth.
it's just there's a definite pattern there with like the only thing that sort of the kids hit a certain age where they're not babies anymore, and she sort of held off because she was caregiving for her mother. Then her mother died. Then kids hit an age where they're not babies anymore, but she holds off because Christina, she's looking after her, but then Christina passes away, and then I get like, that's about you.
She should have got a chimp.
Yeah.
Should have got a chimp.
She should have got a chimp.
Or a real born doll. Should have done what that girl did the other week. Get yourself a real born doll. Be one of those chimp crazies.
Or it sounds like she would have just been a really committed carer. Like she could have gone into the care industry as a nurse anyway.
She could have been a great carer. She could have been a foster carer. She could have like literally like had these babies until they could find her own home.
But that says something else, doesn't it? Because then it's like, is it one of those weird Elon Musk like tech bro things where they're trying to spread as much seed as they can, like the power they get in spreading their seed everywhere? But then it's not because these last ones aren't biologically hers.
Having them.
Yeah, it's
Pokemon.
And owning them.
Yeah.
It's so weird. And as someone whose mother like didn't want me and left me when I was 3 weeks old, I feel like I would prefer my mother just being out of the picture and coming back in and being out of it. Like, then this to me is a bit nuts. This is a bit nuts. Anyway, guys, it's read the article. It's crazy. What a story.
I'm going to read it straight away after this.
What a freaking story. And then you go down rabbit holes of just the comments. I spent a couple hours in on the article itself. TikTok takes. Everyone's talking about it. It's nuts.
Amazing.
Oh, I feel like I need to lie
Thank
down.
you for giving us a ticket into that world.
It's nuts. Just the gist of that crazy lady.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Just the Gist, a Just the Network production. Executive produced and hosted by me, Rosie Waterland. Produced and edited by James Joseph with additional production support from JTG team Kate Lever and Hayley Stavely and Acast legends Guy Scott Wilson and Simon McDermott. Looking for Breakin Nooz? It drops on the Just the Gist Patreon every Tuesday, along with a whole lot of other bonus audio, video, and behind-the-scenes content, which you can access for just $1, $1 a week by clicking the link in the show notes or searching Just the Gist Podcast on Patreon. Follow Just the Gist on Instagram and TikTok at Just the Gist Podcast, and watch the video version of every episode on our YouTube channel, also at, funnily enough, Just the Gist Podcast. Follow Rosie, that's me, in all of the places at Rosie Waterland. Want to give us a suggestion? Tell Rosie to stop singing so much? Email us at hello@justthegist.com.au. Thank you, as always, for listening. Now go say something impressive at a dinner party. Bye.